MiamiRollerDerby.com, in conjunction with 247Miami.tv, is proud to present Rink, Rash Radio. 60 minutes of everything roller derby in the 305. Visit MiamiRollerDerby.com for more information on upcoming bouts and events. And now, Rink, Rash Radio.
Welcome to Rink, Rash Radio. I'm your host, Wilma Shakespeare from Miami's Vice City Rollers. And in the studio today, we've got some great special guests from Gold Coast Derby Girls. We got Freakarella.
Hi.
And we got Barely Human.
How you doing?
Thank you guys so much for coming down, driving from Broward, coming to the studio. And we just wanted to talk some Derby with you guys. So Freakarella, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you came into Derby?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us here. We're so excited. This is my 8th season playing roller derby.
True veteran.
Yes, I've been around forever. It feels like forever. I've always been with Gold Coast. Formerly, we were called Broward County, but I've always been with this league. Been coaching for about 6 seasons, I think now. I specialize in coaching the fresh meat. It's very, very important to me.
We all remember our fresh meat experience.
Yeah, some not so great. I try to make it a really positive experience for everyone because I want them to be excited about Derby like I am. So played a lot of Derby, seen a lot of things, heard a lot of things, but I'm still here. I will never leave Derby. I will always be a part of who I am.
People are afraid of getting injured, but guess what? It's going to happen, but you bounce back and you're still there. And you
can get hurt getting out of bed in the morning. At least I have a cool story. Just like I was doing something awesome when I got hurt,
And you're the bench coach, right? Barely Human from Gold Coast Derby.
Yeah, I've actually been the bench coach for Gold Coast for the last 4 years, 4.5 years. Before that, I was a bench coach up at Dominion for 2 years.
Where's Dominion at?
Dominion is Norfolk, Virginia.
Very nice. Very nice. So you've been coaching for some time.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
I didn't know they had a roller derby team. I did chewed a lot of dirt up in the Norfolk area when I was in the Navy.
Yeah, actually.
Oh, hello, George.
Actually, Dominion is one of the original roller derby teams.
Really?
Original.
Modern roller derby. They were one of the original teams.
That's
so it's a myth that everything was out in Austin all that whole time?
Well, when they put it all together, the original ones, it was you had Bloody Mary from Texas, and there were some people up in New York, Bonnie Thunders and those folks. And they all, there were people everywhere. And the original 13 states, one of them was Dominion.
That's fascinating.
Okay, did not know that. You learn something new every day. Thank you, Barely Human. Thank you.
See, that's why we will have you on our show.
Derby is educating people. See,
One work here is done.
That's a wrap. No, I'm just kidding. But I did want to thank you guys for coming down. And before we continue, I did want to mention that Miami does have a bout coming up next Saturday, March 21st. We got 2 games for the price of 1. Key West in their first official bout.
That's so cool.
Ever.
Key West as a team. That's so great.
Yes. There are sisters out there down south, and they're playing against the B team from Fort Pierce, the South Florida Bruisers, at 6 p.m. next Saturday, March 21st, followed by Miami's Vice City Rollers against the South Florida Roller Girls, which we're going to have Backdraft Betty, their captain. We're going to call her in later on the show.
Cool.
So that we actually played them the second game of our very first season, and we lost. So this is going to be the rematch, and it's a different team from both sides. So we're going to see what that should be interesting. So we got the Key West first official bout, and we've got a rematch for Miami and South Florida Roller Girls from Fort Pierce. So that should be interesting. $10 in advance for tickets, MiamiRollerDerby.com. And you got local food trucks, we got local vendors, we got a DJ Nancy Starr spinning tunes. We got an entire bout, and so it's going to be fun for everybody. Bring your families, bring your friends. MiamiRollerDerby.com for tickets. So before that, so you guys just had a game.
Yes, we did. First one of the season.
Twin City. Where are they from, and what are they about, and what was the game about? Well, how was the game?
Twin Cities from Illinois.
Champlain
in Illinois. You know what?
So they came all the way down from Illinois?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we really didn't know anything about them, really. I mean, we tried to look up some footage. We saw like some home team stuff, but we didn't really know like who they were. So I think we kind of went into that game just not sure and just like really focusing on our game. Like, this is the beginning of the season, so we wanted to make sure all the stuff that we've been working on, new strategies and just kind of teamwork stuff we've been working on, was really going to be put to use for the first time. So it was good. We had a good game. It was fun.
What, did you guys win?
Yes, we did.
Nice.
It was pretty neat. We actually had some new people on the squad this year because we had a lot of transition from last year to this year. So we had a fresh bunch of jammers coming out. So anything that they had watched us from D2 last year on the footage
Was not.
It was all null and void. Different people were jamming, and it was pretty cool. We did pretty well.
That's interesting you mentioned that, because I feel like derby teams, they tend to have a lot of rotation, right? In terms of, yes, you're always going to have your core group, but people leave derby, especially a women's team. Some get married, some get pregnant. They have to take some time off. Maybe they're injured. So you constantly have to have a pool of skaters that are ready to take them to the next level. How challenging is it to continue to maintain a roster?
That's actually one of the most challenging things with roller derby. We're a very fortunate team that the last couple of years we took our spanking year 2 years ago.
Our spanking year,
where like everybody retired. I mean, we had like 4 new people. 4 people came back, and everybody else was new. And we went to Frankie Panky that year and just took a beating. But
what's Frankie Panky?
Frankie Panky is a tournament, an invitational tournament in Tampa.
Okay.
And after that, everybody decided we were all in this together. We all took a beat, and we're all sticking with this. So everybody came back, and now everybody came back again. And so building that camaraderie, we also got more depth to us. So instead of just having those 14 people that always play, we have 24 people that are just as good as those top 14, so it gives us a lot more depth. So somebody can't go, we have somebody that can jump in their space.
And that's a challenge, I think, because especially in South Florida, when you've got so much other activities that people want to go do on a Saturday night, you got what are the how do you maintain that base? How do you maintain that fan base so that they keep coming?
I think that's one of the main struggles I think we have in South Florida, especially, is like recruiting people and getting them to come out. I mean, you have 24/7 access to everything down here, day and night. There's something fun to do. There's all these exciting things, and girls don't want to necessarily come out and skate and sweat outside and do those things. So it's like, we got to make sure that those girls that come are extremely committed to it. And that, we're going to stay together. And, like Bear said, we had that year where we lost a lot of people, and then we got a new people. There's a lot of girls like me that have been around for a long time. So it's like, you've been around for a really long time, and then there's new girls that are brand new. So it's like,
how do you bridge
figuring
that gap?
That's the hard part. It's like, how do you get those girls to sort of catch up to where we are, or you get the veterans to sort of step back a little bit and go, okay, well, I have to remember that these girls are new.
Right.
So I think that's something that we always struggled with, because we said, like, we have our core group of girls that have been around. We've been together for a long time, but then how do we incorporate those new girls?
Yeah.
So it's just, in the end of the year, we always just take it back to basics.
Yeah.
Take it back to basics. Let's work on endurance together. Let's work on team building together. Let's work on doing fun stuff and encouraging these new girls to really step up their game, but teaching the veterans patience also. So there's that weird balance.
One of the things that works really well with that we've done, and it's actually one of my favorite times of the year. We usually do it in December. Is we, like Freak was saying, we go back to basics, and you'll take people who have skated for 5, 6, 7 years, and you'll go, we're going to do single knee falls today. And they're like, oh, my God.
I don't want to do single knee falls. I can already see Naughty C cups rolling her eyes.
We're going to do plow stops. And they're like, oh. And what happens is it evens the field, because you take the fresh meat out there, and you take the veteran skaters and you put them, and they realize not only do you now have to do it, but you have to explain what you're doing to somebody new, and that makes the bond. You
know what? I actually experienced that the other night. So Wednesdays, when we practice, we do basics. And we focus on skills. And I don't always get to make it, but it's a variety of levels. We have from the juniors to, fresh meat, and to the veterans skating together. And last week, me and Battlestar ended up, actually teaching, the other people, okay, well, this is how you do it, because we were the most veteran in the group. And it was an entirely different experience for me, like showing somebody how to do the eagle, versus like doing it myself. And I had to scale back a little bit, but I was able to really connect with the other skaters and be like, hey, that's a good job. Keep doing, don't give up.
And the newer skaters, they love that, because they come in and they're like, wow, look what she can do. And I want to do that one day. So it's like, it also helps them learn that, yes, you can get there.
And I remember when I was fresh meat and looking up to the veteran skater and be like, oh my God, I want to do that so bad.
You want me to do what?
Yeah.
You want me to stop how fast? Oh, this is really scary.
Our lesson always with that is plow stops, because that's the best one. A lot of veteran skaters know how to do a plow stop. But when you tell them, okay, you're going to do that, the fresh meat watches them and they go, oh my God, how did they do that?
Yes.
They try to do it and they just fall. And then what happens is you say, okay, now do it again and tell her, where your weight was, where your balance was, and they were all like, okay. It really gets everything to where you can really get down and bond that way.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for more Rink Rash Radio. We've got more of Freakarella and more of Barely Human from Gold Coast Derby. And we do have a game coming up next weekend. So come catch Miami's Vice City Rollers. It's a doubleheader event. We got Key West Derby Dames, their first official bout ever, against the South Florida Bruisers at 6 p.m., followed by Miami's Vice City Rollers and the South Florida Roller Girls. And before the game, we are going to do a special edition of Rink Rash Radio. We have an hour-long pregame show where we're talking to the skaters. We're doing a live feed of the game with 24/7 Miami. So if you can't make it, catch the live feed. Visit MiamiRollerDerby.com for tickets, and stay tuned for Rink Rash Radio. We've got more Barely Human and Freakarella, and we'll also later on we'll have Backdraft Betty from South Florida War Girls and Mary Chaos from Tampa Bay Roller Derby. Tune in to Rink Rash Radio.
By skaters, for skaters. You're listening to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv.
Welcome back to Rink Rash Radio. I'm your host, Wilma Shakespeare from Miami's Vice City Rollers. In the studio today, we've got Barely Human and Freakarella from Gold Coast Derby Girls. And hang tight because we will also have Backdraft Betty, the captain of South Florida Roller Girls, calling in the next segment, as well as Mary Chaos from Tampa Bay Roller Derby. And wanted to remind you guys that we do have a game next weekend, Saturday, March 21st. 2 games for the price of one. Only $10 for tickets in advance at MiamiRollerDerby.com. We've got 2 games. We've got local food trucks, Peru Sabroso. We got an ice cream truck coming out, so smoothies and ice cream. Can't beat that. We will also be having, actually, one of our new vendors is called Snip Tees. And I know. Basically, you can buy one of our shirts, take it over to Snip Tees, and she'll snip it up for you and make it cool.
Oh, I was.
Yes,
so.
I
All
know.
right. Carry on.
Me too.
I don't really
there.
know where she's going with this one. I don't really know.
So shout out to Melody from Snip Tees.
Bring a roll of dollars.
Mhm.
We've also got some other great local vendors. We got, for the first time ever, Geek Girl Brunch.
Oh.
So it's a local meetup for geek girls who are into video games, card games, anime, whatever, geeky, awesome stuff. And we'll also be having an organic vendor who brings samples of local organic food, a local food delivery service. I mean, we've got, just support from a local tattoo shop, Marked for Life. So you can come visit Kawaii Universe. She's a local artist and graphic designer. We've got jewelry, designs by Jay. I mean, it's just a great, kid-friendly opportunity for you guys to come out. $10 on a Saturday night. You can't beat that. And of course, free beer from Biscayne Brewing.
Hello.
You can't go wrong with free beer.
Free beer, people.
Free beer. Come on out next weekend, Saturday, March 21st. I'm here with Barely Human and Freakarella. And if you missed us, we were talking about, growing derby when you have skill levels, skaters from different skill levels, and what it takes to coach to bring people together. So, Barely Human, why don't you, in your own words, tell me about, if I'm hearing about derby for the first time, how would you explain the game?
Oh, well, I guess the best way to describe it is most people, when they think of roller derby, they think of the old school roller derby, which was on the bank track, and there was a lot of elbows and flying, shoe things and all kinds of weird stuff going on. That was a roller derby show. What modern roller derby is it's actually a legitimate athletic version of that sport. What we now do is we now play on a flat track, and the competitors are actually legitimate athletes. And there is a fixed set of rules. There's actually a few different fixed set of rules, but the main ones are the WFTDA ones, which MRDA, which is the men's version, also play by. And what it comes down to is it's the best way to describe it is it's kind of like hockey and a race all at the same time on a track. And you go for 2 minutes or less, depending on the situation. And the more people you pass, the more points you score.
Full contact.
Full contact.
Full contact. That's my favorite
How
part.
would you explain the game? Some fresh meat comes up to be, I have nothing about roller derby. What do you tell him?
And there's beer.
Oh, there's that standard. Okay, there's 4 blockers, 1 jammer, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, full contact on skates. Just come and watch. Just come, show up. Just do it. I always tell people that it's like if you're thinking about it, you want to know, look it up. Because I can tell you everything. Right. I can say all the things. You need to see it. Yeah. Because you like Bear said, like you have this sort of picture in your brain of roller. Everybody immediately elbows. I'm like, if one more person does that elbow sign to me, I swear I'm gonna scream. And it's like that's not what it is anymore. This is for real. I mean, even when I started, like the game is so different now. Before it was just like wear your fishnets and skate around and maybe hit somebody. That would be cool. There was no strategy or anything. So it's like you got to see what's happening right now in derby, and literally it changes from like season to season. I mean, month to month it's changing.
Exactly. And so I do have a little bit of a history. I talked to Disaster Chief, one of our referees last night, and he kind of broke it down for me. So what he mentioned was it started in 1935 by Leo Seltzer, and he started what's called the Transcontinental, and it was bank track.
Yes.
And it started as co-ed. Yeah. It actually started as a co-ed league, which I didn't know that. And then it was basically simulating a cross-country race. If you think the word derby, what do you think? You think racing.
Racing.
Exactly. Right. So which fundamentally the game is still a race between jammers, except blockers are obstacles to that race. So that's how he explained it. And then when basically Seltzer created the rule set, and now you have blockers, and now you have pivots. And in the 70s, of course, we were talking about, WWE on wheels with the show and the scripts and, that sort of thing. And then the 90s, you had what were called roller jams, and it was inline skates, and it was still more of that spectacle type show. And in 2001, you had the roller games, and then the resurgence between 2001 and 2003 of what we see it now today is from Austin, Texas, that punk rock female empowerment type sport. And now I think we're going to be talking about Mary Chaos with this too, because she also plays co-ed. Now we're seeing more of this co-ed teams, forming together. We're seeing more of men's leagues, with MRDA and just continuously growing. And I think that's one of the coolest things I think about our league actually is that, under the umbrella of My Roller Derby, we do have a women's team. We're starting the men's team. We have a juniors team. There's something for everyone.
Everybody wants in on this. Originally it was just the girls. And that's it. It was like, no, this is the girls' sport and that's it. But who were the support staff? Who were the refs? They were the partners. They were the spouses. They were the friends, the brothers, the uncles, the cousins. They wanted in, So I think it was just natural that was going to happen. You know, so there was a lot of girls who were like, no, it's our sport. We don't want to share it with
Yeah.
the guys. They have enough. And it's like,
Mhm.
who cares?
Well,
They want to skate and they're
but I
following
hear-
the same rules I am.
Mhm.
And let's do it. Who cares?
I do see the other side though. I'm not necessarily a believer of it, but I see the whole. You know what? They've got basketball. They've got football. You know, this is a female
but
dominated.
we
sport.
play those male dominated sports too.
Right.
So should we tell the guys, oh,
Well,
hey, no, sorry. Should they say to us, no, you can't play basketball?
You
Like
mean
it's
football
ridiculous.
and lingerie.
Yeah, well, okay. There's some legitimate female football. There is, you know, but it's like, it's just, that's what was going to happen. You know, the men wanted to skate. They want to play. They play different than we do. But we learn from each other. You know, their upper body, they just want to come in for a big
Shoulder
kill.
checks.
And yeah. So,
And they hurt.
As girls, we have to figure out how to counter that. You know, because I'm not really used to that. I'm used to girls coming with hips and more strategy.
Yes.
The guys seem to have a little less finesse, but they're coming in with brute strength. So it's like, well, how do we fix that? Like, how do we stop these guys that are really hard to stop? Oh, okay. We'll just use our strategy now. So I think that it's helped Derby all the way. I don't know. I've been a huge fan of it and supporter from the beginning.
What do you think, Bear?
One of the things that when people say this is a female sport, it's no sports are any one specific sex. They're really for everybody. It's like basketball is a perfect example. Well, there's the men's teams, but there's also the women's teams, and actually there are differences in the two. If you watch the men play basketball, they tend to not have the strategies as keenly done and honed as the women's teams do, but there's a lot more brute force to them. The same thing is in roller derby, and I don't think it needs to be any one person's, one sex game. Otherwise, we're just doing the exact same thing that the men did to the women, where they said,
Yes.
well, you can't play this because this is a man's sport. Why don't we just all play nicely together and see how it works out? And as far as co-ed, you have the men's teams, you have the women's teams separate, and you can see two totally different games and you can learn from each other. But when you have the co-ed ones too, as long as everybody's playing by the same set of rules, they're usually amazing. And there are actually teams around the country now that are we were just talking about before the show, Pioneer Valley. We had some people come down to visit, and they have a men's team, a women's team, and a co-ed team. And that's how they play. And they actually have a juniors team too.
And I think it's challenging too. Like as a female skater, like when I have a guy playing with me, like I have to rethink of how I'm going to approach them as a blocker or how am I approaching them as a jammer, because there is a difference in strength. And I think it's a great challenge.
Even as a teammate, like if I'm working with a guy, he's thinking in a different way than I'm thinking. So we have to figure out how to
work together.
Still make that work together.
Exactly.
So I think it's just always challenging us, like to play with the guys and for them to play with us as well.
I agree.
So before we go, I did want to give a shout out to Apocalypse, who just joined us. Come here, Apocalypse.
Hello? Hello?
Apocalypse recently had a Derbyversary.
I did.
So happy Derbyversary.
Yay.
So Apocalypse is one of our junior skaters, and she just joined us, and I just wanted to say hi. I know you just came from a surgery, so thank you for coming and actually being in the studio today.
It's great. I love doing this. I genuinely do.
Do you really, or is that the drugs talking?
No, I genuinely do.
Well, before we go on to the next segment, and we'll have Backdraft Betty she's the captain of South Florida Roller Girls. We did want to invite you guys, whoever's listening, come watch us play. Come watch what Derby is all about.
Right. If you've ever thought about it, or you saw it on TV, you thought it was cool, you don't have to get involved, but go and see it. Go and see it and tell your friends about it. You will have a good time. It's a guarantee.
You need a taste of the Derby. That's all you need.
Totally.
A little taste of the Derby. Next weekend, Saturday, March 21st, we have 2 games for the price of one. $10, MiamiRollerDerby.com. Food trucks, free beer, lots of Derby action. Tune in. Stay tuned for Backdraft Betty from South Florida Roller Girls. This is Rink Rash Radio.
Can you say your alphabet?
Sure. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Quads forever. You're listening to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv.
Welcome back to Rink Rash Radio. I'm your host, Wilma Shakespeare from Miami Vice City Rollers. And joining us in the studio today, first time ever, we've got Freakarella and Barely Human from Gold Coast Derby Girls from in Broward. And just joining us in the studio is Apocalypse from Miami's Little Misdemeanors. Hey. And we've got the captain of the South Florida Roller Girls, Backdraft Betty, on the line. Say hello, Backdraft Betty.
Hi.
Hey. So what do we call it? Betty, Backdraft, Draft? You know what?
Either or, but Backdraft.
Okay, cool.
The most popular one.
we talked a little earlier this week, and you're actually a firefighter, right?
I am, and I am on duty today, so if the tones go off, I'm going to have to hang up with you, unfortunately.
That's too cool. That's
hopefully
too cool
we'll keep our fingers crossed for no call.
Not a problem. And I wanted to bring you on, of course, because we're going to be playing you next week, Saturday, March 21st. And, of course, we want to build this community together, so we're talking to you now. So what do you guys, what's South Florida Roller Girls about? What are you guys up to?
We are doing our best to build our team. One of the biggest struggles that I think every team goes through is recruiting and get girls to come out and skate with us.
Yes, we were just talking about that actually.
So we've lost a few to some injuries, some school, and one's pregnant. So we've lost a couple of our girls, but we're staying strong. We're practicing every week. Looking forward to some really awesome bouts coming up this season. And something we're super excited about is we have the Scald Eagle Clinic and Scrimmage coming up next month, April 12th.
And
so we're invited.
So Scaldy, tell us who she is and what are you bringing her down for?
Scout Eagles plays for Rose City Roller Girls. That's our home team in Portland, Oregon, but she's also a member of Team USA.
Amazing.
She's an amazing jammer. And blocker, just all around fantastic skater. Yeah. So we're super excited to have her and super excited to bring derby people from all over the state of Florida and even outside. There's girls coming down from Savannah that are coming down to skate. So it's just an exciting opportunity for all of us in South Florida and in the whole state, and to bring the derby community together.
What do you guys what do you guys hope to get out of the clinic?
I'm hoping to get some skills out, some tricks. I personally, I'm a tall person. I'm a tall skater.
How tall are you?
And Scout 5'7" and a half.
Okay.
So I know Scout Eagle's pretty tall too. So I'm hoping she can give me some tips on how to not set myself up for skating straight up and down.
That's actually something interesting you bring up. I mean, I'm 5 feet tall. I'm one of the short skaters, and it's super funny to me when I'm lining up and I'm next to someone like you, Freakarella. How tall are you?
I'm 5'6".
And you're like towering over me. And it's interesting to see how different players, just by their height, and you play a different game.
Absolutely.
Scald is actually really tall.
She's really tall.
really tall.
So how would you play against a tall skater versus a short skater?
Well, you always have to play to your strengths. I actually have a wrestling background. And so cool. I couldn't go out and wrestle everybody the exact same way. I had to wrestle my strengths against their weaknesses. So if you're a shorter skater and you're playing a taller skater, you want to be in the way.
Get under him.
It's hard to balance over the top of somebody shorter than you. And if you're a taller skater and you're dealing with a short skater, you have to try to make yourself as wide as possible because they can scoot around underneath you.
Fascinating. Backdraft Betty, how do you approach playing different skaters that might be shorter than you?
I agree with
Barely Human.
what he. I'm sorry. I agree with what Barely Human said. Absolutely. The shorter skaters, you got to be aware of where their head's out. You don't want to get high blocks on them. So you have to get yourself as low and as wide as possible, and get to where you're able to line yourself up with them.
Yeah.
I personally like playing against taller skaters just because then I can feel like, I don't have to get in that uncomfortable position. But that's the great thing about Derby. You have people of all different shapes,
Yes.
sizes, heights. There's no one specific type of Derby player. There's such a variety.
And that is truly what is amazing about Derby, is that you can have people from, and we have an attorney on the team. I'm in marketing. We've got people from all different backgrounds. It doesn't matter how tall or big. There's a position for you that you can play. I
am scared of the little girls. Like when the little ones come out, everyone's like, "Oh, she's so little. She's not going to do anything." I was like, "No, Lucy Lunatic. She's one of the short girls on our team. That girl has bruised so many of my ribs. I can't even tell you. Like, seriously, she just comes up and under. True? And I'm like, where did she come from? I didn't even see her. She's so little."
That's like we also have a skater, Barb Wire Gordon, who is, I would say Barb is probably about 5'7", 5'8", and maybe 110 pounds wringing wet. But we call her the Dart because she's so thin, and when she hits, she just like barrels through you, and it's like you got a shot from her.
Geez, Barb, where'd you come from?
Yeah, I approach it. I've been told. So I'm a shorter skater, so my goal is to get your legs from underneath you. Because I can get low and I can swipe you. And versus where I'm told like protect my chest, because that's how a tall skater is going to get me. You hit me on my chest, I'm done. So it's interesting to see how you approach the different skaters. I don't know about you, Apocalypse. How do you approach it when you come play?
With junior derby, it's almost like exaggerated because we have people ranging from like 17 to like literally 7.
Right.
And they'll be like,
that's right.
At my hips. Like there's this girl, Twisted Sister, who I believe is on the attack pack, who is so fast. It's crazy. Like anytime she jams, it's so hard to block her because she's so short and gets so low. And it's like, it's very difficult.
Sometimes I feel like the little ones are just gonna like go through my legs. I'm like, they're just gonna go right under.
Exactly.
It's fine.
So Backdraft Betty, you guys also have a game coming up, right?
I'm sorry, you broke up just now.
I said you have a game coming up. Who are you playing?
Our away game is with you guys, which you already talked about. But April 4th is our next home game against Tallahassee, against Jailbreak Betties.
And so April 4th?
April 4th.
So how do people find you if they want more information about South Florida Roller Girls, if they're up in Tallahassee or if they're up in your neck of the woods?
You can find us on www.southfloridarollergirls.net, or you can like us on Facebook, and we encourage everyone to like us, and we'll keep you updated on all the new news and upcoming bouts and clinics, whatever we're hosting.
Awesome. Thank you. So I wanted to make sure that people knew how to find you guys. So lately, actually, I recently saw this on the news. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. The States on Skates. And it's basically 4 women who are going 2,800 miles across 8 different states for 78 days. It's 40 miles a day. And they're skating across the country from Cocoa Beach to Santa Monica, California.
Wow.
And in hopes to raise $50,000 to end domestic violence and sexual assault for the No More campaign. And I think it's just fantastic that we have women on skates, skating across the country to raise awareness about issues, that women's issues, which is domestic violence and sexual assault. I don't know, Francorella, what do you think about this?
I think it's great. I think when I first heard about it, I was like, wow, this is really cool. That's a long way to go on skates. I was like, oh my gosh. But, if you're committed to something, use it to your advantage. It's like we can get the word out through our derby community. We're all really super close with each other. We all spread the word through social media and everything. Yes. So why not use that? Why not use our skates as a way to get that message across? I think it's incredible. 40 miles a day. I don't know. That's a lot of skating, but it's incredible cause.
Backdraft Betty. I mean, I think this is something that talks about how the Derby community can really come together and make a difference. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I think I agree totally what Freakorella says, that, roller derby is about empowerment of women. It's an outlet that we get, and we should be encouraging one another and promoting these charities and these good causes that show how women are strong, and we need to come together to fight against that in specific, domestic violence and sexual assault.
And coming from someone like you who goes out and saves lives, that's pretty phenomenal to hear. You're out there and you're literally, you make a difference and in your work, and you come and you skate, and you make a difference there too, and that's pretty awesome. So thanks for joining us, Backdraft Betty. Stay tuned, guys. We do have Mary Chaos from Tampa Bay Roller Derby, and she's also a ref for Tampa Bay Men's Roller Derby. So we'll be talking, and Freakorella, I know that you also ref and skate. So we'll be talking a little bit about, the differences, the similarities between reffing and skating, and what happens when you have both of them combined. We do have a bout coming up. We'd like to invite you next Saturday, March 21st. We do have a Backdraft Betty. She is the captain of the South Florida Roller Girls. She'll be coming down. So meet her during the special edition of Rink, Rash Radio. $10 for tickets in advance at www.miamirollerderby.com. Thanks for joining us, Backdraft Betty, and I'll see you next Saturday. And stay tuned, guys, for Rink Rash Radio. All right, take care.
Thanks.
Back to the show before the fresh meat gets rotten. You're listening to Rink Rash Radio on 247miami.tv.
Welcome back, Rink Rash Radio. I'm your host, Wilma Shakespeare, in the studio today. We've had an amazing show. I'm so excited. We got Freakorella and Barely Human from Gold Coast Derby Girls. And I got just a comment from one of our skaters says we need to have you guys back. So thanks for coming down. We also have Apocalypse from Miami's Little Misdemeanors. And we've actually having a special guest today. Mary Chaos from Tampa Bay Roller Derby is on the line.
Hi.
She's in. Chaos, thanks for joining us. We've been hunting after you for quite some time, and we finally got you on the show. And I know that usually you have a practice with I believe it's a men's league. Is that correct?
No, actually, so Tampa Roller Derby practices 4 times a week, and one of them is Saturday mornings. And I've been really focusing on getting my teamwork down with my team, because Tampa's very teamwork focused. So every practice is very important, since I only transferred it in January.
So you've been playing with them since January, you said? And
yep.
So, and you guys actually have a game later today, right?
Yeah. I'm actually, after I get off the phone with you, I'll be doing some laundry and then heading up to Tampa. The Bruce crew, the B team. I know, right? B team is playing Molly Rogers Roller Girls from Melbourne, Florida. They're good friends of mine. I'm super excited. My baby sister just started playing for them.
What?
So
that's really cool. So it's all in the family.
So, yep, it's true.
That's really cool. And actually, we've played Molly Roger Roller Girls were my first bout ever last season.
Aww.
Yeah. And so I have a very special, special place in my heart for Molly Roger Roller Girls. And then they were my debut. And then next season, so the first game of this season was my first season as a veteran, because I've been done with my rookie season. So then it was Molly Roger again. So it was really, really great to kind of see that, so I have a very special place in my heart for Molly Roger Roller Girls.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I do. I love, whenever I travel, I always take my skates with me. And that's something that I recommend to any skater. If you're going somewhere, don't be afraid to take your skates, because teams love travel skaters. They love guests.
I think that's what's excellent about the communities. You can go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So when my sister started going to school in Melbourne, I would go down and visit her, and I'd skate with Molly. So I've actually been kind of guest skating with them since 2010.
And Chaos, I did want to bring this up, and I'm bringing this up because we do have Fricarella here who also does this.
Oh yeah,
you guys both actually. I think Fricarella, you said you've reffed together, or you've played together.
Yeah, actually, we did State Wars together.
Yeah.
So what's it like to? What's the difference between roughing and skating as a derby skater? Like, how do you approach it? I mean, obviously you're doing a different role, but tell me about that.
So honestly, especially now that I got a chance to go to Texas to take an officiating clinic with Cirrhosis, who's a level 5 from Rat City. He's amazing. And a lot of the things that we covered in the officials clinic was actually a lot of mental game stuff that we need to talk about more in roller derby. Good habits and bad habits, not cracking under pressure and not letting emotion get the better of you, and seeing the full view of the game, as opposed to just focusing in and hyper focusing on one issue. So one of the reasons I think I feel like I transferred into reffing easier is because I had my skating skills down already, and I already understood the strategy of the game. So it's not that I can predict penalties or pack definition, but I can kind of predict where the action's going to be, because I know what the skaters are probably going to do. I know that they're probably going to bridge forward, or at State Wars, it happened that I knew which jammers were also blocking. So I could say, okay, Sandrine Ranjan is in the pack, or Grim Demise is in the pack. I know that if their jammer is not lead, they're going to speed it up, and we are going to be at a full sprint because they can.
What do you think about that, Fricarella?
I just started really getting into reffing recently. State Wars was actually the first tournament I ever did. Cool. And I think it's helped me to focus my derby skating more, because I'm like thinking about how can I use the rules? Like, I know I've seen this, and how can I use this now to my advantage? Or like she said, like, you can't predict what's going to happen, but you kind of know which way things are kind of going. So, and playing the sport for so long, I think, has made reffing a little bit easier, because I know what's going on. I know what to look for. I know what to see. I know what the common, it's a cut track. It's this, it's that, there's a lot more rules now, different things that you have to sort of focus on. But I think the hardest part is taking the emotional part out of it. Because when I skate, I'm emotional and I'm yelling and I'm, focusing on my team, and we're just, oh my God, let's go, let's go. When I'm reffing, I have to just be like, straight face, no.
Rusty B face.
Yeah, totally. It's State Wars, those guys, The guys are brutal when they're playing out there. And when you're reffing a guy's like men's
leagues, guys is so awesome.
They're brutal because they will scream at you. They're like blah 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 blah, and I'm like, I just have to look at them like, okay, thank you.
You know what? I'm gonna say that Team Wisconsin women was just as bad as Team Missouri men.
Why?
Yeah. They get just as emotional, and they will yell at you at the same. And I mean, like, this is why whenever someone brings up that men versus women and men are so much blah blah blah, I'm like, okay, dudes, you have not seen
they're
girls
just as
get
emotional.
Super emotional then. Like, they get just as angry. I have thrown my fair share of misconduct since I've been here. Trust me, because people have been swearing at me because they didn't like the fact that, yeah, I'm sorry, you just backblocked the heck out of that girl and she fell. Sorry. Please go to the box.
Yeah. I think
you're going to swear. Misconduct.
One of the last games I played, I remember having this really passionate ref. And he was just like, 16, blah, 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 blah. Like, holy shit, dude, don't yell at me. You know? But it's just like, I was scared of the guy. And I was like, oh my God, he's yelling at me. It's like daddy issues, you know, times 10.
Yeah.
So, Bear, I mean, what do you think about, you know, reffing versus, you know, the officiating and skating? And how do you approach it from a coach's perspective?
Actually, I NSO a lot too. So I do have a referee background, an official background as far as that goes. As a coach, what I always tell skaters is, I don't care how good, bad, or ugly a referee is, both teams are being officiated by that same official. Mm-hmm. So if they're calling them terrible, they're probably calling them terrible the both sides. You just don't realize the other side's getting theirs too. So you just have to keep your demeanor, keep everything calm, keep everything zen, and just, you know, go ahead and do your thing, because you're there to play your game. You're not there to play what the ref wants you to do. And if you see that some referees might call a no pack, you know, a little bit shorter than others. Well, if you come off the track the third time and tell me they keep calling it at 8 feet, well, then what should you do? You should be adjusting to 8 feet then.
It's true. Yeah, I think the hardest part is that, just like playing roller derby, reffing takes it takes practice. You know, you can't just hop onto a derby team and just know what they do. Even if you're a very experienced skater, and same with reffing, you can't just hop into reffing even if you know the rules. Like gauging impact and being able to recognize something. And there's something terrifying, especially your first game, of seeing a penalty and going, wait, where's my whistle? Okay, right. Are they going to be mad at me? Okay, shit, is it too late?
It's just being committed to it. Right. You know, somebody told me that. He was like, if you're gonna make a call, be sure that that's what you saw. If you're not sure, don't make the call. So I think that was like the best advice. It was like, believe in what you saw. And if you're not sure, don't make the call, because you can't make a call with an maybe it kind of happened. Right. No, it either did or didn't. You saw it, you didn't. That's it.
And that's when the coach vulture comes out. If I see you make a call and I can tell that you don't necessarily believe in what you just called, I will be in there challenging it.
Yep.
I think that we've definitely seen that, where the coaches would be like, explain to me why you called that. And then you have official review. And then if they don't know how to explain it, then what, you know?
But, you know, refs are human beings, you know, they make mistakes. I can't see every single thing that's happening. You know, I'm sorry, I have to blink occasionally, you know, so that happens.
I'm sorry you got swiped in the mouth, you know, by that skater.
I encourage anybody who's at any skating level, and how long you've been playing derby, try reffing. It's really, really hard, but it's rewarding. It's really exciting, and it helps you learn a different view of the game.
I feel a challenge coming on.
Yeah.
Skaters,
I mean, you guys mentioned earlier, like when women's derby was starting, who were the support staff? It was the men, the boyfriends, the guys that couldn't play. That's kind of how I got involved in reffing. Was I was helping Harm City back when I was in Baltimore playing with Charm, and I realized that they needed support staff. And I had so many men in my life volunteer as officials, and I'm like, you know, it's my turn to give back a little bit. It's my turn to help these guys play.
And that's why you're Mary Chaos, because well, thank you, Chaos. I'm super excited to have you on again, hopefully soon. There's so much that we can talk to you about, from chaos theory, which is, you know, training regiment that you've actually improved my perspective on cross training. You know, because I was all about just derby training, and now it's about, you know what, I do need to cross train. I need to go in there and lift some weights and be stronger, more powerful, and I feel I already am just because of the, you know, chaos theory. So you guys check out chaos theory for sure. And also, you know, if you're in town in Miami, Florida next weekend, Saturday, March 21st, we do invite you to come watch roller derby. Come see what our refs do. Come see what our coaches do. Come see what our skaters can do out there on the track. And two for one. We got 2 games, Key West and Miami. MiamiRollerDerby.com. Chaos, thank you for joining us. Barely Human.
Thanks for having me.
Freakorella, Apocalypse, you guys are part of the Derby family. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
And that was a episode of Rink Rash Radio. Tune in next week. We do have a pregame, 1 hour special edition of Rink Rash Radio, and that's a wrap. Thank you guys.